Back, the clock will tick a little longer for TikTok. Today, President Donald Trump delayed enforcement of a law that would ban the social media app while his staff works on a deal to maintain access to the app here in the United States. The deadline has now been extended for 75 days. It was originally set for tomorrow. Former President Joe Biden signed a law last year that required the China-based parent company ByteDance to sell the app or face a U.S. ban. There are concerns over national security and user data being collected through TikTok and shared with the Chinese government. ByteDance has previously said it did not plan to sell TikTok. To talk more about what's happening with TikTok today, my friend and journalist Lisa Remillard. She's known as the news girl on TikTok and has more than 3.5 million followers on the platform. She's done extensive reporting on ByteDance and this TikTok saga. Lisa, thanks so much for joining us live on the show today.
Hello, my friend. Nice to see you.
Great to see you. Lisa, let's start with this. What's your reaction to today's announcement?
So look, I'm not surprised. I was anticipating that the president was going to extend this deal. There was really no way that they were going to be able to accomplish something of this magnitude. Any business owner would tell you, especially when you're talking about a platform as big as TikTok, there's no way that's going to get finished in 75 days. So I was anticipating that they would extend this deal. So not surprised here. I think it's a good day for the 170 million American users. And I think it's a frustrating day for those lawmakers who wanted this app banned back in January.
And the other big headline today, Lisa, as you know, is that China announced its own retaliatory tariffs on the U.S., 34%. What has ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, and China said about a potential deal in the future?
Yeah, so those are two different questions, and I'm going to talk real quick about both. So first, let's talk about what ByteDance and China have said. What's interesting about this story is up until today, TikTok, ByteDance, and China have said nothing publicly about this deal until this afternoon, until a couple of hours after the president extended the deal for another 75 days. And what ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, said was they finally acknowledged that, yeah, we are having some kind of discussion with the White House over a potential solution to this TikTok dilemma in the United States. But most importantly, what ByteDance said was there are still key matters to be resolved, and any agreement will be subject to the approval under Chinese law. And what your viewers may not understand, especially if they're not like sort of engaged in this whole thing, is the reason why Chinese law is involved is because in 2022, China put algorithms, recommendation algorithms on an export control list, meaning they cannot be sold outside of China. And that would be very problematic because, as you, Jessica, I know you're on TikTok, and everybody that's on TikTok knows that's what makes that platform so special and different is the algorithm. So a sale without it would be complicated. Now, speaking of China, you mentioned the tariffs and the retaliatory tariffs that China put up today. What's interesting about that is just last night on Air Force One, the president and all this week has been floating the idea that he would use tariffs as a way to negotiate this TikTok deal, perhaps dangling a reduction in tariffs for China for them to agree to something. Well, last night on Air Force One, the president said he was anticipating that China would, the president would get on the phone and give him a call to sort of reduce the tariffs, those 34% tariffs that the president put on China. And then, as you know, today, instead of calling the president to make a deal, they slapped the United States with 34% tariffs.
Yeah, pretty high tariff there. And Lisa, I know there was a meeting earlier this week, and a lot has changed since then, but there was a meeting at the White House this week. Oracle and Amazon have been making some headlines as potential U.S. buyers of TikTok, and that meeting at the White House was supposedly to discuss a potential offer. Do we know anything about that, where that stands?
Yeah, I think the deal that has sort of been thrust into the forefront is the one that involves Oracle. And what makes that important is that Oracle is already part of the TikTok atmosphere. Oracle, as you mentioned, I have done extensive reporting on this, and I did a big investigation into TikTok's data security, in which Oracle plays a key role. And so to have them involved in a deal, in some kind of deal with the White House that satisfies the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act, which is the law that bans TikTok, to have them involved makes a lot of sense. And it seems like that was the deal. And the deal was, according to the reports, that this new U.S. entity that would involve Oracle and other investors that are already involved in TikTok, they would just own a bigger stake, and ByteDance would own a more minority stake in the company. And the United States, that new company, would lease the algorithm. So that eliminates the problem of the export control list, that China not wanting to sell the algorithm because of its value to the global company.
A lot of nuance, the 75-day extension, so the saga is continuing to play out. Lisa,
June 18th.
June 18th, we'll be watching that date now, and it's always good to see you. We worked together in Las Vegas, so great to work with you again.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.